Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to Sid's Little Corner of the Internet, and we do not have a Transformers review for you this time. We're going to be doing something a little different on this video. This time around, we're going to be taking a look at the Masters of the Universe Revelation Skelegod. Now, being a child of the 80s, when I was growing up, I did have quite a few He-Man figures. Unfortunately, I didn't keep them as time went on, so this is kind of the first He-Man figure that I have in my collection. But we're going to take a look at this guy. When I saw him on the shelf at Target, I thought, oh my gosh, what is this? I need to find out more, because this thing looked pretty darn cool sitting there. So, as we always do, we will start with that packaging. So let's go ahead and bring that in so we can get a nice close look at that. Up here at the top, you do have Masteverse. He does have 30 points of articulation. And then down here you have Masters of the Universe Revelation Skelegod. Now this is from a Netflix show. The show has not premiered at the time of this recording, but I did see the trailer for it, and from what I saw it looks pretty good, so we'll see how that goes. And over here you have some nice artwork on the side. On the back you have that same artwork with a little bit of a bio, and I will set it there for a second so you guys can pause and read that if you choose to do so. Alright, and then down here you have the other figures available in Battle Cat, He-Man, Mossman, Skeletor, and Evil Lyn. And Mattel is empowering the next generation through play. That's good to know. On this side you have Skelegod, Cosmic Lord of Destruction. And on the bottom, we've just got some manufacturing information. Alright, so that's it for the packaging. Now what we'll do is we'll go ahead and we will bring Skelegod in for his close-up. So let's go ahead and grab him and bring him in. And he does have that lovely face. I like what they've done here with that green translucent neck. I think that's a good look. Huge, huge shoulder pads on this guy. And then the big old, I guess that's a Skelegod logo. So there you have it. Looks like an H to me for He-Man, but whatever. And then he has a bearded tunic looking right at you. He's got some blue stripes on his legs. And his shin guards are looking at you as well, so don't make the shin guards angry. And then he has those 3 lovely pointed toes. And then coming over here to the hands, you do have some pretty nicely sculpted hands there. He does have the face on the cuffs as well, so don't make the cuffs angry. And you will make these angry when you take them off. They'll fly off at you. But we'll see that here in a second. And then we'll take a look at him from the back. So you've got those big old shoulder pads. And then you have this cape made out of this cloth. It almost feels like a felt. And it has these little weighted diamonds on them on both sides. So that gives it a little bit of heft, a little bit of mass. Now I find that this cape can get kind of annoying at times because it likes to stick to itself. The 2 pieces of felt will stick to each other. So that can be a bit annoying at times, just something to be aware of. Let's lift that out of the way. And you can see the butt cover and those boots. So yeah, overall, this guy's pretty cool. Now, from what I understand, a little brief bio about this guy. In this upcoming show, this is Skeletor after he gets the Sword of Power. He becomes this Skelegod, Cosmic Lord of Destruction. So there's a lot of speculation flying around about Skeletor finally defeats He-Man, and either Prince Adam is now a prisoner or he is killed. And the current rumor mill is that Teela will take over, and she will band together her group of folks, including Evil Lyn, to stand up against the Skelegod here and bring him down. Again, that's all speculation. We'll see what the show brings. But that's the best guess that I know of for now. Now, as far as articulation goes for this guy, he is pretty articulated. The box shows 30 points of articulation. I'm not going to count, but feel free to do so if you want to. So his head can go up a little bit. It can go down a good amount. And you get side to side. And of course, you can go all the way around. Just be careful with those horns. And over here at the shoulders can come up that much before they start interfering with these shoulder pads and hit their limits in there. And they could, in theory, go all the way around. Again, if not for those shoulder pads. The biceps, you do have bicep swivel, so you could go all the way around with those. You do have double hinged elbows, so you can get a good elbow bend on this guy before his huge muscles start running into each other. And then down here at the hands can go out a little bit. They can go in quite a bit, and then they do have the rotation. And now down here you have not only an ab crunch and back, but you also have a little bit of an ab side crunch and ab twist. So you can get him with one of those, hey, what's going on kind of looks. And then you do have just the traditional waist rotation right there as well. Now down here at the legs, you can do the splits about that far before everything starts running into itself. And you can kick out that far. So not the greatest. And you can kick back about that far. So yeah, even less great. But hey, at least it's something, right? You do get thigh rotation, so you could go all the way around at the thighs if you needed to. You do get the double jointed, double hinged knees. And then down here at the feet, you get a couple different points. You can go back that far. You can go forward that far. And then you do get ankle tilt. And then you can spin them around in any direction. So yeah, his legs are somewhat limited in their articulation because of that back and forth and the splits. But, you know, he does overall have pretty good articulation. So for a big muscly dude with a bunch of accessories all over his person, you can get him in some pretty dynamic poses. So not too bad. Now, as far as accessories for this guy, you do get a few. So I'll just back him up a little bit. So we'll keep him in the frame and we'll look at those accessories here. The first one, and the most prominent, is going to be the Sword of Power. So you do get that, and it's painted here on the blade, and then the hilt is just molded plastic, and then you have that brown right there for the handle. So not the most detailed thing I've ever seen, but not too bad. All right. So you get that. And then you get a couple of interchangeable fists. So you get the closed sword fist for the right hand and for the left hand. So you can have both of those guys, you know, ready to hold the Sword of Power if you want. And the last accessory you get is the big green fist flame ball. So yeah, it's kind of cool. Again, I'm assuming he's hurling flames, and it doesn't matter which set of hands you use those on. You could use them on these, or you can use them on those. It's simply a matter of placing that flame over the fist, and then you can have some of that sweet green flaming action going on. So yeah, totally up to you. Now, as far as changing the fists out, this is where it can get, it's not really tricky, but these things are only held on by the hands. So once you pop these hands out, these cuffs are going to want to come flying. So just be ready. Just pull those hands out. And while we have the hand off, let's go ahead and take a look. And you just take those cuffs off just like that. So totally your choice if you want to have those cuffs on, or if you just want him to be injured in battle and now he's like, hey, where'd my right hand go? You know, one of those things. All right, so let's, oh no, he's down. See, loss of blood. He fell over because he lost his hand. So anyway, let's put that cuff back on, and then let's put the sword fisty hand in. And this is just a press fit, but it can be a little bit of a pain just because you want to make sure you do get it all the way in there, otherwise that hand will fall off. So give that a nice good squeeze. Trying to do this in front of the camera so you guys can see what I'm doing. Struggle, struggle. Oh, there goes the cape. All right, well, we're gonna leave that off. If I'm gonna do this in front of the camera, just plug that in, give it a push. All right, there we go. All righty. Now, before we go any further, let's talk about this guy. So not only is it made of felt, it also has these two little clips and then these silver, they look like they're squashed down rivets, but let's call them buttons. And to put the cape on, you have his little cape backpack harness right here. And the cape stays on fairly well for the most part, but I did have it fall off on me a few times while I was playing. You just line these purple clips up underneath this harness, and then these two buttons will slide into those areas right there on either side. So get everything lined up, give it a squeeze down. If I can see what I'm doing here, sorry guys, working kind of far away. There we go. And then straighten your cape out. So flip that up, try to give you a little bit of a look at what's going on under there. All right, give that a squeeze. There we go. Okay, so anyway, now that he is cuffless on his right hand, he's being a little bit of a pain in the butt standing up for me right now. All right, whew. Now that we have him standing up, we can give him the sword of power. Just take that, stick it in, bada boom, bada bing, and you have Skelegod with the sword of power. And just for fun, let's give him the flaming fist ball of goodness so he can do that too. And now he's someone with whom should not be messed. Is that the right grammar? Someone who shouldn't be messed with, but you're ending on a predicate on that one. So someone with whom should not be messed. You get the point. He's that guy. All right. I'm getting a little off the subject here. The He-Man Masters of the Universe, they're a little bit out of my wheelhouse here, so bear with me. I'm getting a little goofy. All right. So with all that being said, what we will do now is I will get his cuff back on him, and I'll get him in a nice fancy pose. We'll readjust the camera, and then we'll bring in some comparisons so you can see how he looks against some other figures I have laying around. Alright guys, so as I mentioned earlier in the review, unfortunately I don't have any He-Man figures in my collection anymore, so I figured what I would do for the comparison part of this review is I would just bring out a wide selection of some of the different things that I have in my collection so you could see how he stacks up against some other figures from some other universes. Alright, so first up for the comparisons we have my original Chewbacca action figure that I had from the 1980s. So you can see how Skelegod looks next to Chewie. Alright, and now we see Skelegod next to a Lego Batman, so you can kind of get a sense of scale between the two there. And now we have Skelegod next to Donatello from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Now this isn't an original. This is one that Sid had from a few years ago when he was big into the Ninja Turtles. So this is probably a, give or take, a 2016 release action figure. And finally, definitely last but not least, this is my universal scale. This is Optimus Prime as we see him in the Transformers War for Cybertron, Earthrise, and Kingdom parts of the trilogy. So you can see how Skelegod stacks up next to Optimus. Alright, so what we'll do now is we'll do a quick camera adjustment and I'll give you my final thoughts on the Skelegod from Masters of the Universe. Alright guys, so my final thoughts on the Masters of the Universe Revelation Skelegod. I think purely from a figure standpoint, this is a fairly well done figure. This is good. It's not great. Now, the articulation on this figure is very well done. I think the details are great on it. A couple of minor gripes would be the fact that that cape can be a pain to keep straight and also to keep on, just the way that it's connected. So as you play with this guy, that cape will fall off. I also find that he's a little difficult to find a good, stable, standing position just because of the shape of the feet and the fact that he can get a little top heavy on you. And my biggest gripe is going to be just interchanging those hands. So it's kind of a tight fit when you're changing those hands out anyway, so you're kind of manhandling the figure to get those hands pulled out and pushed back in, and then you couple it with the fact that you have these cuffs on his forearms that the only thing keeping those cuffs on are the hands. So not only are you fighting to get the hands put on, you're also fighting to keep those cuffs on and keep them out of your way while you're doing that. Now, those three things, in the grand scheme of things, are minor, particularly for somebody, if you're out there and you are a big Masters of the Universe, He-Man kind of fan, the equivalent of what I am for Transformers, then this is a no-brainer for you. You're going to want to pick this figure up. I think he's going to be a nice addition to your collection. I know that the show, the Netflix show that's coming out, that's going to give us a lot more information on this guy, and we'll see where that takes us. But I do think for those of you who are super fans of Masters of the Universe, this is a figure you're definitely going to want to pick up. Now, me personally, we'll see where this goes. I don't think my wife is going to be able to tolerate me starting another collection. There's only so much goodwill that this can take me down before she finally says enough is enough. So I may or may not be collecting the new Masters of the Universe line from the show. It really all depends on where the show goes and if the quality of the figures remains the same or improves upon this figure. So with that, I'll wrap up the review. Like I said, for those of you who are Masters of the Universe fans and you know, live and breathe this stuff, this is an absolute no-brainer. You'll want to pick this guy up. I did find him at Target. The price point on this guy is a bit high. It's $30 US. So it was a little bit salty, and it definitely gave me pause before I decided to get him. So keep that in mind if you go looking for him. But no doubt, just like with the Transformers, the articulation and the build quality on these new figures far surpasses anything that we saw in the 80s. For those of you who had He-Man figures in the 80s, you know, there just simply wasn't a lot of posability or articulation on those guys. So this guy has the 30 points of articulation, and you can take full advantage of that. So I think you'll really enjoy him if you pick him up. So with that being said, I'm going to wrap up the review. As always, guys, thanks for tuning in, and if you haven't already done so, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and leave us some comments and let us know what you think. Let us know if you want to see more of this kind of stuff, or any other things that are out there that you'd like to see us do a review on. So any input is greatly appreciated. So guys, that's going to be the end for me for now, and we'll let you get back to your routine, your daily life. And yeah, we'll wrap it up. So we'll talk to you guys later, and we'll see you in the next one. Take care.